Just before we start, I'd like to remind us of a few housekeeping rules. Firstly, all microphones will be muted to avoid hallback effects. And if for any reason you are not muted, kindly assist in muting yourself when you are not speaking. Secondly, in line with cyber security policy, anonymous questions will not be attended to. What this means is that questions and comments from devices without real individual names, not brand names, will not be entertained. Thirdly, to ask a question, please kindly utilize the Q&A feature on your screen. To leave a comment, please utilize the chat area. To speak, if time permits, kindly utilize the raise your hand feature on your screen. Beloved brothers and sorors, we humbly and most respectfully request that we keep the questions narrowed down to the topic and discussions for tonight. We're also live on our Instagram handle, Amok Nigeria, and our YouTube channel, Amok Nigeria. And the link is being shared in the chat area. We kindly request that you share with our members who are unable to join us. And should you at any time experience network glitches, please do not hesitate to join the Instagram or YouTube handles and go with the flow. And lastly, please subscribe to all our social media handles, Facebook, LinkedIn, inclusive. Now that we have the housekeeping rules, let me once again welcome us to the Grandmasters E-Forum. It's usually exciting, it's usually entertaining, and it's usually very educating. Esteemed dignitaries of the order, beloved fathers and sorors, it is my honor as well as my privilege to most respectfully invite our Grandmaster, Frater Kenneth Idiodi, to the forum. Grandmaster, sir.
Thank you, Master Radio Okonobi. Thanks to all of you who are participating with us virtually at this time. Let me start by saying that we all try to sit calm and commence some neutral breathing. That is to say, you take in a deep breath and without holding it, you breathe out, in and out slowly, and feel a sense of calmness within you and around you. Making it easier for us to be receptive to the lessons of this hour. And now, let us unite in invocation. God of our hearts, of our realization, we assemble virtually and in your presence to share thoughts that will be of benefit and value to us and our common humanity. Grant us the empowerment to continue to thrive and strive on this path of self-mastery, so that we are successful in our services to humanity, to your glory and the good of all. So much it be. Dignitaries of our order, fratres and sorors, dear friends, I bring you greetings from Ruskusham Park, Calabar. The much advertised Abuja 2021 Ruskusham Convention in Nigeria has come and gone. However, the concept of service and the practice of self-mastery for service remain with us. For those of you who were present at the African Hall of the International Conference Center, as well as to those of you who participated virtually, we remain grateful for the roles you played in contributing towards the success of such a unique and historic convention. Considering the current challenges of road transportation in the country, the general feeling of insecurity pervading the globe, and of course, the restrictions imposed due to the coronavirus pandemic, we can say definitely that the convention was well attended by some over 600 persons in person and virtually. Our new Imperator, Frater Claudio Mazuko, left with a very positive impression of our jurisdiction. Our friends and sorors were very happy to see him, and he clearly felt love and warmth that we have in our hearts for him and our beloved order. Also glad to be with us again was Grandmaster Sven Johansen, who has participated in several of our conventions in the past. On my part, I remain grateful to Almighty God, by whose divine grace, the Imperator and Supreme Council decided to confer upon me the title and honor of Grandmaster. And I can say that after nearly 50 years of service to all of you, the honor entails great responsibility on my part and on yours to remain dedicated to our Rosicrucian ideals in a life of service above self. The work involved in organizing a Rosicrucian convention, such as we have just done, is enormous. It requires commitment, discipline, love, and diligence. The local organizing committee, made up of members of Centrum Lodge, Abuja, headed by Grand Councillor David Watagire, were the foot soldiers with the mandate to carry out the task. And with our love and support, they did an excellent job in event planning and execution. We also commend our administration staff and the IT department for their technical support. It is worthy of note that those with duties to perform in the convention had to push themselves beyond their comfort zone to cater for the well-being of the participants and ensure that we all had a good time. And this is related to the theme of our forum this evening, which is striving beyond the comfort zone. Fratres and sorors, science and technology have provided humanity with increasing levels of comfort in life. It may be difficult to imagine life without the gadgets, houses, roads, vehicles, aeroplanes, electrical power, communication, infrastructure, and the many other facilities associated with the life we are now living. However, there was a time, not too long ago, when none of these things existed. In those ancient times, life was more physically demanding than it is now. People had to trek very long distances, carry heavy loads, and sleep on hard surfaces. The homes that people had were far less protective as shelters from the vagaries of the weather. If any of us today were to find ourselves in such conditions, it would be very difficult for us to cope with. The ancients obviously had stronger and tougher bodies than we have now. But even with this advantage, they must have found life quite difficult. In the midst of all that hardship, they must have dreamt of living a more comfortable life. Some did not just dream about it, they planned and worked hard towards it. These are the people we have to thank for the relative ease in life we are enjoying today. The dream for a better life still exists just as it has been from time immemorial. We all want to be comfortable, and there is nothing wrong with that. There is, however, a problem if we feel we must avoid discomfort at all costs. The sedentary life associated with the comfort of modern day living has contributed to a growing number of health problems. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, and I quote, sedentary lifestyles increase all causes of mortality, double the risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and obesity, and increase the risks of colon cancer, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, lipid disorders, depression, and anxiety, unquote. Brothers and friends of the order, our bodies were designed for a certain level of physical activity, which many will now find stressful or difficult because of our current lifestyles. Our bodies have begun to deteriorate, and this has also had a degrading effect on our minds. It is a law of living things that whatever is not used begins to atrophy. On the other hand, whatever is put to use grows in strength. In the past, the physical demands of life kept man well exercised. By carrying out our daily routine activities, we were able to get all the exercise we needed to be fit. In contemporary times, man has had to create time for physical exercises in order to stay healthy. We also have a growing list of exercise equipment, such as training benches, dumbbell sets, treadmills, stationary bikes, etc. Our bodies cannot thrive if left in a perpetual state of physical comfort. The human body must pass through some uncomfortable sessions of rigor and stress to remain in good condition. This is a principle that applies to every sphere of life. For example, a child protected from the difficulties of daily living is denied the opportunity to develop. Sometimes parents who face and overcame serious challenges in growing up from early childhood try to shield their children from the stress. They may be tempted to say, oh, I don't want my children to suffer like I did. Yes, they do not want their kids to suffer what they suffered. But then they end up pampering their children who grow up to be problematic adults who are unable to contribute positively to society. Unfortunately, such parents have failed to appreciate the advantages they gained from their early days of struggle, hustle, and bustle in the cities or in the village, wherever they were raised. Many among the rich and successful people in the world today passed through periods of serious financial deprivation when they were growing up. There are a lot of inspiring stories around us of people who have lifted themselves virtually from grace to grass. Recently, there has been an article on the internet on top 20 Nigerian celebrities and their grass to grace stories. You'll be very surprised to know that some of our well-loved celebrities went through earlier in life lots of difficulties. Some had to stay hungry without food. Others have had to sleep under a bridge or in an uncompleted building growing up. Some had to go out begging for programs or do all kinds of stressful odd jobs. Today, they are all very successful and admired by most of us, and it is all thanks to qualities they developed early in life. From an esoteric perspective, we speak about passing through the crucible of fire. This refers to going through trying experiences which purge us of the impurities of being. Our weaknesses, such as superstition, laziness, self-doubt, envy, pride, fear, etc., are impurities which stand in the way of personal achievement. These weaknesses are not easy to eliminate without the penetrating lessons of life that affect us deeply at emotional and mental levels. When an event in life impacts on us with such intensity that we become changed for the better, we have had a true initiation. Such experiences are not available within our comfort zone. These stressful experiences are needed for our own good and eventually happen to all of us without exception, whether we like it or not. We may either decide to strive beyond our comfort zone by our own volition, in which case we are choosing our own battles, or we can wait for life to push us out of our comfort zone. The same thing can be said by asking the question, if we know that some suffering in life is inevitable, is it not better to choose when and how to suffer? This is being proactive. If we do not put in effort and suffer a bit in order to gain some comfort later in life, we will be thrown into unpredictable and unanticipated suffering by life itself. First and foremost, comfort and discomfort are a duality. One cannot exist without the other. They are two sides of the same coin. Indeed, we live in a world of duality. Our duty as human beings is to learn how to live within the polarities of life and reconcile them in the process. This concept of duality has been known to mystics from ancient times. In the ancient Jewish esoteric text on creation, the Sefer Yezira, it is stated, and I quote, "The merciful and gracious God created the universe in 32 mysterious parts, 10 Sephiroth and 22 letters. The 10 Sephiroth have 10 infinitudes, which are as follows: the infinite beginning and the infinite end, the infinite good and the infinite evil, the infinite height and the infinite depth, the infinite east and the infinite west, the infinite north and the infinite south, and over them is the Lord, superlatively one, the faithful King. He rules over all in all from his holy habitation for ages and ages," unquote. Brothers and sorrows, out of the 22 letters mentioned in the creation of the universe, 3 are referred to as mother letters, 7 as double letters, and 12 as single letters. The double letters also convey duality of life as indicated in the quotation. The 7 double letters symbolize wisdom, riches, fertility, life, power, peace, and grace. The 7 double letters also signify the antithesis to which human life is exposed. The opposite of wisdom is foolishness. of riches, poverty, of fertility, sterility, of life, death, of power, servitude, of peace, war, and of beauty, ugliness. The texts basically convey the idea that duality is fundamental to the creation of the world we live in, even though at the same time there is an underlying unity to all things. In expressing ourselves in the material world, we must bring together two polarities in order to get a perfect manifestation. This is the law of the triangle. This law is perhaps easy to explain. However, to understand it well enough to put it into practice with mastery is another thing. Notwithstanding, we must all aim to achieve this. One area of life we can do this is in realizing that to get anything of value in life, we must be ready to stretch ourselves quite a bit. That extra effort we put in, which means sacrificing our comfort, is really what is needed to yield results. It may mean depriving ourselves of some hour of sleep to burn the midnight oil to achieve an intellectual goal or objective. It may mean waking up very early to the business place to start early, and customers will see you as the earliest bird. On deeper reflection, you will see that it perfectly aligns with fundamental spiritual and natural laws. The simple saying that nothing good comes easy speaks to the same principle and could be understood in the context of reconciling the polarities of life and applying the law of the triangle. For the sake of emphasis, let me reiterate that no matter our productive means of livelihood on earth, no matter your perceived calling in life or in your profession, be it medicine, law, engineering, politics, trade, or any other business, it is imperative in the spirit of service to our common humanity to go beyond our comfort zone by putting in additional effort. Additional effort. Sometimes, sadly, stretching ourselves to our elastic limits. However, we must understand that it is all about balance. Just like comfort has its limits, discomfort also has its limits. To push ourselves beyond the limits of any side will have repercussions. Another simple saying that addresses this is all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. In other words, in striving beyond our comfort zone, we should know where and when to draw the line. At all times, we must avoid the extremes and to the middle path. Here in the Rosicrucian Park, Calabar, Fraternals Rose, we have embarked on a project that will bring comfort to our members when it is completed. The project is the domain of peace. A 3-star Rosicrucian retreat facility. You can see from the screen where we are with it. In the current economic climate, it will have been easy to stay within our comfort zone and say this project is beyond our capacity to handle at this time. But take a look at the screen and see where we'll be when we are through with it. We must understand that to achieve things of value, we must have the courage to go outside our comfort zone. This project will be completed. We just have to stretch ourselves as required by natural and spiritual laws, and it shall be done. Let me use this opportunity to thank all those who have made donations towards this project and assure you that these funds have been judiciously applied to the project. We are making steady progress and had hoped to have completed the building before the end of year. But clearly, that will not happen this year, 2021, which is just a few years to a few days to the end. Clearly, gradually, but we can push this, get out of our comfort zone. We are now looking at the first quarter of 2022. And if a few more donations come in from all of us with the spontaneity and zest for this completion of this project, as we are looking forward to, before Akrado, we should have something very good to look at. And we should harness our thoughts in visualization towards the accomplishment of this. So much it be. Thank you. At this point, I will pause for some comments and question and answers, which the moderator will be asking you to come in with. And after a short while, we will have a closing attunement session. Thank you.
Grandmaster, for yet another very interesting session. Beloved brothers and sorors, we can now take questions in the Q&A area. We've listened to our most worthy Grand Administrator on the topic striving beyond our comfort zone. While waiting for us to put our questions in the Q&A area, I'll quickly remind us of some of the key things our Grand Administrator said. Our Grand Administrator reminded us of the importance for us to be active. Our Grandmaster also reminded us that the quest for a better life has existed till ancient times, till now, and possibly will continue that way. And also informed us that most of the problems we've had in modern days is as a result of a sedentary lifestyle. Our most worthy Grandmaster rather, I beg your pardon, sir. You know, we've called you Grand Administrator for years, and we are still getting used.
Both are okay.
Thank you, sir, for your understanding. Our Grandmaster reminded us of the esoteric aspect of this topic, the crucible of fire, and that we need to have penetrating lessons of life that will enable us to overcome some stubborn weaknesses. And we cannot have these penetrating lessons of life if we are stuck in our comfort zone. Grandmaster also informed us that comfort and discomfort are a duality which we must learn to balance and reconcile. And lastly, he emphasized that no matter our paths of endeavor, no matter our professional calling, no matter what we do to earn our livelihood, it is imperative for us to put in that additional effort. But in doing that, we must learn to strike a balance. Once again, thank you so much, our most worthy Grandmaster, for reminding us of these essential lessons this evening on striving beyond the comfort zone. Esteemed dignitaries of the other beloved brothers and sorors, I would like to remind us that the domain of peace is still ongoing. If you check the chat area, we have the link to to the donations page. Some of us were present at the just concluded convention, and then some of us could not make it. In keeping with the theme for this evening, striving beyond the comfort zone, we would like to encourage us to do more. For those of us that did do something at the convention, please do not relent. Let's stretch ourselves a bit to get this project done. And for those of us that did not do something, did not make any donation at the convention, or had done before but could not take part in the convention, please, the opportunity is still there for us to get the domain of peace ready in good time at the Acrado. So we'll now take questions for our most worthy Grandmaster on the topic for this evening, striving beyond the comfort zone. Please kindly drop your questions in the Q&A area, and it will be addressed by our Grandmaster.
Okay, I'm so glad that this message, simple and straightforward as it has been, sank into each and all of us, and we have received it. And at this time, before I go into any closing session, I ask that we all sit relaxed wherever we are and commence some neutral breathing. After this attunement exercise, there will still be an opportunity for a question and answers, but let us take this on at this time in which the participants are also quite many. And that is that this year is coming to an end, I mean this calendar year. And as we do this breathing, let us be full of gratitude and be in that mood, mentally and emotionally. So taking a deep breath, and without holding, exhale slowly, in and out, in and out. And while doing this, concentrate at this time in the area of your heart. And feel within yourself thoughts of love, the love of God, thoughts of harmony and peace among fellow humans. And begin to feel yourself in a spherical ball of light, life, and love. And now, with the first deep breath, which I ask you hold for a while, visualize yourself in this spherical ball so that when you're ready to exhale, your being, my being, our beings, and our auras are charged with the brilliance of divine light. With a second deep breath, let us acknowledge the breath of life for which we should be grateful, the vital life force, which in fact is the breath of God within us. And so that when we are ready to exhale, our entire beings and our auras become charged with the vitality of divine life. And finally, with the third deep breath, let us acknowledge universal love, impersonal love, divine love. And so that when we are ready to exhale, our entire beings and our auras become charged with the sublimity of divine love. Thus imbued and infused with the light, life, and love of divine effulgence, let us feel this cleansing within and around us in this spherical ball of light, life, and love as we unite in invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse our beings and cleanse us of all impurities of mind and body, that we may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and worthiness. So mote it be. Now, let us feel our consciousness rising above us, above the building where we are. Above the village, town, or city we are situated. Higher and higher into the clouds, beyond the clouds, beyond the earth, into higher realms and spheres. As we feel ourselves in the quietude, stillness, and serenity of a state we can refer to as our celestial sanctum. Let us feel at peace with us and in this spiritual environment, where love, harmony, and peace reign supreme. Let us visualize a world in which each and all of us has an opportunity to express ourselves in our best possible way, to contribute towards making the world a better place, either by virtue of our profession, our trade, our business, our interactions with fellow human beings, our character, our lifestyle, our commitment to service. Hold these thoughts and in a prayer in your own words and thoughts, ask for inspiration and guidance, for strength and capacity. To achieve your higher aspirations, to attain a level in service in which you feel good about yourself, about others, and our common humanity. And to contribute to the well-being of our planet. We'll do this for a while, and I'll round off with a prayer. And now let us unite in invocation. God of our hearts, God of our realization, in whose consciousness we live and move and have our being. We are thankful for the many blessings of light, life, and love. Grateful for the tests and trials, tribulations and travails that we go through in life, carrying the cross upon which our soul, personality unfolds. To thy glory do we labor, day and night, to unfold the beauties of all that is infinite. Grant us the divine empowerment to carry on with the affairs of our lives, to your glory and the good of all. So much. And now, brothers and sisters, let us gradually begin to return to the objective plane and move in the same manner we ascended to this level. Through the clouds, lower and lower in consciousness, to our planet, the country where we are, the state, county, or local government, the city, town, village, or hamlet, the building, a beautiful temple, of the soul, our physical body. And now may the grace of God sanctify our individual and collective attunement with the celestial sanctuary. So much it be. May we now gradually become aware of our mundane, our objective environment. I will yield to the moderator to make some announcements pertaining to the domain and how we may contribute to it. And also, if there are still one or two questions to be addressed or a comment, by all means, please go ahead. Maybe that question should be written in the Q&A answer. I can't get it at all. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Professor Ajo, can you hear me? Is there any frater soror who is not muted, who can hear me as I speak? So that can you reply and say something so I know that communication. You can hear me, Nefe?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Did you hear or understand what someone was asking these last few seconds?
Okay, it's Frater Ejo that was trying to pass the questions from the Q&A area. He is experiencing technical glitches.
Okay.
I could assist for now.
Please go ahead straight away. I'm eager if there's a question that needs to be answered. Because I'm seeing on the screen 5 participants raising hands. So we can do that very quickly within the next 10 minutes.
All right. Our most worthy Grandmaster, Frater Ahunam Chukuma is asking, what are the steps to strive beyond physical comfort zone that is too toxic to one's spiritual health?
What are the steps?
To strive beyond physical comfort zone that is too toxic to one's spiritual health.
Okay, I know that at this moment you are seeing some steps behind me at the background. And so we are reflecting upon these perhaps and thinking in terms of steps in the ladder of illumination. First of all, the background I'm coming from here is that reflecting upon the theme of the last convention we just held, which is service, and the concept of self-mastery for service, it should be obvious to all of us as fratres and sorors and as human beings here on earth that we are here to render service to our common humanity, just like others are here to render service, and from others rendering service in their own way, we gain and benefit. Others have helped us to build civilization to where it is now, and it is a moral obligation and duty to contribute our own quota in human development and civilization. That said, coming to the basics, we should daily in life think in terms of our talents, our skills, our capabilities, our areas of interest, of passion, our drive. Are we into sports, football, tennis? Are we into intellectual activity? Do we like teaching? Are we engineers? Are we medical doctors? Are we accountants? And so on and so forth. What can we do to improve upon our capacity to serve effectively and efficiently in the situation and position we find ourselves by our formal education, by our upbringing, by our choices of vocation or profession? Each of us should make a daily effort to improve upon this ability. As we reflect upon this through meditation, contemplation, visualization, and the general improvement of the human situation here on earth, we draw from the universal cosmic consciousness of God the inspiration, the empowerment to be so equipped physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We do not, by virtue of this, diminish our spiritual capacity. No, instead we increase it. Because don't forget, it is not our own personal power we are talking about. We are talking about an infinite source of power, the universal consciousness of an omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent factor called supreme intelligence, divine mind, Allah, God, or the equivalent in any language or religion. And so, if your sense of direction and focus is in the area of service, by being inclined in that direction and having the will, you'll be given the power and ability to do it, and you draw from this source of universal energy and benefit all of us as human beings, even as we have enjoyed from the common pool what all others have done. So don't look at it as just steps. Procedurally, what you do daily in your attunement, in your meditation, in your prayers is adequate to draw this inspiration and empowerment. And next question.
The next question, sir, is from Frater Arize, and he asks, Most worthy Grandmaster, how do we suppress the weakness in us in order to grow into the desired state of our hearts?
I think this is quite straightforward. There are several techniques, but I think the best one to use is to learn to place emphasis upon the strength in you. When you do this, there will be no time to get into the weaknesses. On the other hand, if you are making an effort to eliminate the weaknesses, it can be counterproductive at a certain age, a certain stage, because your focus is on your weaknesses rather than on your strength or areas of core interest in life. Let us imagine that you like playing football or lawn tennis, or you like visiting the library to read, or of course nowadays your phone has the entire library of the world and you can Google and access many things. If you focus on that, you have very little or no time for what you see as your weaknesses. Of course, on a daily basis and at the end of each day, we generally recommend that you reflect upon how you have lived your life that day. And after expressing gratitude to God, pinch yourself over any area that betrayed your weakness or made you feel less than you want to be, and then affirm to yourself its opposite, that is the strength and the capacity to reflect that strength in your character and in the way you do things. For example, if in your to-do list, you pen down 10 things you were to do, and you were only able to do 2 or 3, it's either you were disorganized, or you lack the discipline to do so, or maybe you were interrupted by several other factors. That is to say, one of your weaknesses is poor concentration. And so the following day, you affirm to yourself that not only will you finish with the things you couldn't do, or which you procrastinated or postponed, but you will do as much as you can to take on the new assignments in your to-do list for the day. This way, you become more efficient in service and effective, and you are into a process of, through introspection, improvement upon your character, strengthen your character, and develop your will to accomplish. And with this will, you will have a greater empowerment to do more for yourself and for others. Next question, that will be the final one.
Yes, sir. The last question is, most worthy Grandmaster, is comfort zone really about comfort or more about fear? This is from Dr. Akwan Monday.
The comfort zone is one in which you feel that everything is okay as it is. You don't want to put in any effort because you may be scared about the stress that this additional effort may bring, or it may disturb the status quo, what you are used to, what you prefer to do, etc. and all that. Not much can be accomplished in that, even though one value pops up, and that is contentment. But, you know, for you to be so contented when there are so many things to be done for others, and remain or define contentment as a comfort zone is, from one's assessment, not quite in line with what should be an unceasing desire and effort to improve yourself. This constant effort on our parts for self-improvement is what we call self-mastery. And the self-mastery process, which gradually leads to varying degrees of the mastery of life, is what a Rosicrucian student should aspire to maintain every day, every hour of his or her life. It means it's not enough for us to be comfortable or feel that we are comfortable and we have health, we have happiness, we have harmony, we have prosperity, we have peace, but also to be compassionate. The extension of self-interest to include concern for the welfare of others, and to try to reach out to other family members, to relatives and friends, and impact positively upon their lives, even if many others in real life or through what we read and study have made a very positive influence upon our lives. And so, yes, we are all in need of peace profound, but at the same time, we can get more peace by contributing to the health, happiness, and harmony of others. We may not notice it, but it is going beyond the comfort zone on the part of several persons, regular folks, scientists, artists, the humanities, and those who specialize in various areas, artisans, carpenters, and so forth, that we have buildings to live in, cars to ride, telephones to use, televisions to watch, etc., etc. So the idea is to try to be in alignment with the creative, constructive forces of the universe to bring about greater good for all of us to share. I thank you for this interaction and the various questions you've asked. At this time, I would like Ejo or Nefertiti to explain a bit more on how you can link up with the domain and be aware of how you can also contribute to our support. And with that, we should be closing this session. Thank you. It looks like I was not heard. Okay.
Most worried here, some network glitches.
Oh, okay.
Most worthy Grandmaster, thank you very much for answering the questions. We know we can't have enough of you, sir, so I would like to remind us, beloved brothers and sisters, if you still have questions concerning this topic this evening, kindly send your questions to inquiry@amok.org.ng. Concerning the domain of peace, we are going to screen the bank account now. We have endeavored to make it quite easy for us to link up with the domain of peace projects. So we'll screen the bank account for the domain of peace projects. Screen right now. And we also put the link for those who like to use the online donation platform. We'll also send the bank account for the domain of peace to Masters of AP on their platform. So we come together, one or two or three factors and come together. Unity.
Hello. Sorry, Nefertiti.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We can't understand, Dr. Ejo, from my end, I'm not able to get what you're saying. Can you summarize whatever Dr. Ejo has said? Because I can hear you, and I guess a few more persons are hearing you. so that we can bring this session to a close.
Okay. Our most worthy Grandmaster, beloved fratres, sorors, and friends of our beloved order, we were just talking about our domain of peace. If you recall, for our members, we have been trying to complete our domain of peace at the Rosicrucian Park in Calabar. And what Frater Ejo is trying to explain to us is we have an interface. We now have a platform where it's easy for people to make their donations and transfers and pledges with regards to the domain of peace. You will all agree with me that that project has been on for some time, and it will really be nice for us to complete it. So the bank account is being shared, as well as what the interface looks like. So people can visit it from time to time, and the link also has been shared in the chat area. So our most worthy Grandmaster, at this time, I would like to ask you, do you have one or two words to say to us with regards to the domain of peace?
Thank you. Just to say that when this facility is completed, it will enable us to hold weekly, monthly, and periodic retreats for members here, and also to have special events for non-members who need information about the spirituality in the mystical life and in our order, so that at some point in time, they can become members of the order and contribute their quota in conjunction with us to build humanity the way we know it best, so that the ideals of health, happiness, harmony, and peace at the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual levels may prevail on earth. It's a project that will, it's a facility that will enable various professionals as well to close ranks occasionally and reflect upon how to improve their profession in the service of humanity. So, for goodness sake, as much as you can, give a thought to it in your quiet moments and be part of the process of building the physical structure. Undoubtedly, those who build derive a lot of cosmic blessings, because the whole of human direction is that of building for the next, for ourselves and for the next generation of fellow humans. If we have seen things like the structures in Rosicrucian Park, San Jose, California, USA, if we have seen grand mosques and if you have seen a number of things, cathedrals, mosques, synagogues, and so forth, massive buildings, many of these structures were the labors of our heroes past. And as much as possible, we should contribute to our quota so that those coming after us will benefit as well. So if you look at your screen, you can see domain of peace account details. It's our property funds, and the account number is 201-226-1457, First Bank. Correct domain as well, domain. So this information has been sent to you by email, those who are members who are participating. And so you should be able to, if you check your email box, link with it and do the needful if you are in a position to do so. With these last words, I pray that the grace of God and the benediction of the masters continue to abide with each and all of us so deeply. Good night.
So,
Thursday, the 30th of December, end of year forum. Thank you for participating.
we thank you very much, our most worthy Grandmaster, and for an inspiring and thought-provoking session as usual. And we can assure you that we're always looking forward to these sessions. Distinguished fratres, sorors, and friends of our beloved order, this concludes our session for tonight. Thank you all for attending, and we trust you have learned so much as well as enjoyed the session. So on behalf of the moderator, Frater Ejo Okonobin, we say thank you to all of you and have a good night.